Good morning, everyone. This is Zor from Nimbus Capital. So this video is actually just to go through my portfolio performance so far for this particular year lah. Okay, so if you have been following our Nimbus Capital Patreon, you have all those trades set up there, right? So the main thing I want to share in this is that I personally follow majority of the trade setup that I post on Patreon. In fact, all the trades that I personally take, are those that I posted on Patreon. The only difference is that the way I take profit is slightly different from what is stated in the Patreon. I do take profit at the stated profit level, but in our Nimbus Capital profit taking, we do have a slightly complicated strategy that only our only the Nimbus Capital cost folks will have access to lah. Meaning those who pay $3,000 who come for the 3 months Nimbus Capital course, right? I will teach them this proper way to take profit, mainly because the way that we take profit is slightly more complicated, and it is not something that I can share on Patreon and expect everyone to do it correctly. It is not as simple as I say a price, you take profit at that price. No, we use a very complicated trailing strategy, and there are certain things you need to do and certain things you need to look out for when you are doing this trailing. So it comes in twofold. Number one, the strategy itself is not suitable for Patreon, mainly because the execution is quite hard and it does require my personal guidance. I need to look into your trades to see whether you are doing correct or not, and there is I'm not going to do that with the 300 to 400 of my Patreon subscriber lah. It's if I do that, I don't need to eat or sleep really. Secondly, it is also something special for the cost folk because they pay $3,000 for it. So that's why they have the special treatment, definitely. So it's not something that should be given to someone who is paying only $20 a month. I mean, that's the harsh reality of it. There need to be a segregation. Imagine you buy an economy class ticket and then you want the same treatment as the first class, but the first class folks are paying like $10,000 for their first class ticket, whereas you paid like maybe a few $100 for the economy. It's like the same thing. I mean, it is to be fair to those who come for my course. So these are both ways. Even if I put out the strategy on Patreon, right, I can tell you most of them are not going to do it correctly because it does require proper guidance. Okay, so with that disclaimer out of the way, right, I do follow the stop loss, especially the stop loss. I follow the stop loss exactly, religiously. Once the stop loss is hit, I am out. If the stop loss is not hit and the TP is not hit, I stay in the trade. In fact, later when I show you my portfolio, you will still see some trades that were posted way back in January. They have not hit the stop loss, they have not hit the TP, and I am still holding on those. I am still holding on to those. So I follow my stop loss very religiously. Okay, if you have been in Patreon and you realize that you chicken out of the trade too fast, like drop a bit, you scared ready, or price go up a bit, you TP ready, right? And you realize that your performance is very bad, right? Use my portfolio as a guidance because I follow exactly the same stop loss and the profit level. The profit level, I do take profit at that specific level, but most of you might know I don't take 100% of my position. I take only small amount. I take like maybe a fixed. I will leave a small percentage behind to trail as part of the trailing strategy. Okay, everything else is the same. So if you are not getting similar return, you are doing quite bad, then you need to ask yourself, what are you doing wrong? Are you not following things properly? And it has nothing to do with, number one, it has nothing to do with choosing the correct trade. each trade have similar percentage of success. And no matter which trade you take, right, it will come to that at the end of the day, you will have that similar ratio. And maybe you can be lucky, you chose a few losing trade in a row, or maybe you chose a few counter that will start. I personally choose a few losing trades in a row, and some of my counter get stuck also. In fact, majority of the big runners, I personally wasn't in the trade. So it doesn't mean that you have to choose what I choose to be profitable. It's like I always mentioned it's like flipping a coin. Whenever you flip a coin, the percentage always remains the same. Doesn't mean this round you chose not to take the coin flip, the next round then you choose to take the coin flip. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, the coin flip percentage is the same. Same thing with my trades. They are basically the same. So at the end of the day, it is up to you on how you control your discipline. Okay, so I use investing note to keep track of my trade, but investing note is just a way for me to sort of do this kind of video and portfolio review. In fact, I do have my personal own Excel spreadsheet that I use to keep track with a lot more complicated statistics, but I'm not going to show you that. Currently, I have a website that is building in the process to turn this Excel spreadsheet into a cloud-based live format where everyone can use it when they will have access to all the statistical data that the Excel can provide. But until then, I'll be using the investing note portfolio manager to sort of show my position. Okay, so under my portfolio, right, I do have two portfolio. So there is 2020 and 2021. So the reason why is that I want to show my year-to-date gain, meaning if I carry on from 2020 into 2021, right, then sometimes it can get a little confusing because some of the counters were caught last year. And then some of you who view my portfolio might think that, hey, how come this counter is like so much profit, but we wasn't in the trade? But mainly because it was caught last year. So I segregate them. So let's take a look at 2020 portfolio before we go into 2021. So in the 2020 portfolio, right, I actually have a 61% return year to overall for the entire year. I managed to get a 61%. So I started out with 100,000 in cash, and now I entered the year with 161,000. So I actually had 61k. And in fact, if you look at all my close position, right, there are a few positions that actually spill over to this year, and these are the counters that you definitely will be very familiar with also. For example, Propnex, iFast, Union Gas, Franken. These are the counter that will spill over to the year this year lah. And of course, the best performing counter for last year for those who have been around last year is definitely high P. And of course, not just to show the profit. On the flip side, these are the losing trades that I have taken. I actually have I took loss on AEM, I took loss on Sembcorp Marine, CMNC Gold Mine, Aspen, Genting. So the reason why Genting and Aspen is showing this much small amount is mainly because there were a period where I did get some profit on Genting, then eventually I lost again. So end up this is the overall same thing for Aspen also. So actually for 2020, right, overall I managed to get this much profit. And do realize that this profit 61%, right, it only started from if you can see here, it only started from September. It only started on September. The first 9 months is not there. That's why it seems like there isn't a lot of losing position. But in fact, over the year, I did have a lot of losing position. But of course, within the first 9 months, there are even more profitable position, but it is not there. So the reason why it's only started on September is mainly because that's the time where our Patreon officially started. So most of the stuff that I post on Patreon, I took the same trade on investing note. So before that, I am taking trades here and there, but there were no Patreon, so there wasn't a way for you to check whether if I'm taking similar trade or not. For some reason, a lot of people are very engrossed over like whether I take the same trade as I post on Patreon or not. So this is like a proof. And if I want to include the first 9 months from January to September, right? My year to date, my ROI for the entire of 2020 was actually close to 110%. In fact, I doubled my account for the entire year lah. Okay, so that's for 2020. Now let's move on to 2021. So for 2021, we are somewhere half of the year. Currently, the ROI sits at 27%. So I have a return of 27% for the year. And the profit loss is, the profit plus dividend is about 31,000. Dividend I got was about $1,000. So I'm not sure what this total return is referring to. I don't really care also, but this ROI is what you should be looking at. Of course, you can look at year to date also. Okay, so my current ROI for this year is 27.3%. So let's take a look at some of the indexes stuff. So let's look at STI. So if we look at STI, right, 2021, so 2021 was sometime here. So currently STI is about 10%, year to date 10%. Okay, STI currently is 10%. And so my portfolio is actually outperforming STI. Considering that majority of my counters are Singapore counters, right? STI should be the one that I am referring to lah. So if you look at my this particular Google sheet is Patreon member have access to it. So it is the archive of all the trades that I've taken, and once the trade is closed, there will be the trading view link. I think you all should have this trading view also on Patreon itself. Sorry for the airplane noise. I actually live in Punggol. So you all should have access to this all these lists also lah. So under the chart data, right, you can actually see that my winning percentage is 60% win and 40% loss, and majority of my holdings are on Singapore market, so it does make sense to refer to Singapore market itself. So total trade outcome is actually referring to all the trade. Of course, no one will actually have the capital go and trade every single thing that I posted. So that's why my position is different from my result is different from the total trade, mainly because I don't have unlimited fund to trade everything that I post. I only choose and take certain trades. But the thing is, if I stop trading, right, I can't stop posting trade setup also. If not, like, you all nothing to trade already, just because I have no capital doesn't mean the rest of the world have nothing to trade also. I still have to continue to post trade setup even if I'm no longer trading. But you can see that most of the trades setup that post have been closed, right? You can see the outcome is much better than my personal position. In fact, there were a lot of trade that I didn't manage, a lot of good trade that I didn't manage to take. For example, Both State I didn't manage to trade. The Too Simple Holding I didn't take it. Stanford Land I didn't take it. Fortress Mineral I didn't take it. Pan Hong also I didn't take. So you can see that I personally miss out a lot of the good trade that I posted myself. So please you don't have to follow my trades. In fact, if you do, right, you are going to end up a lot worse. Just follow the plan, just follow whatever stop loss level given to you, and you are good to go. There's really no effort on your part already. Okay, so yeah, so currently where am I? Okay, yeah, so STI currently at 10%. So let's go to US, the better performing one. And even for US, right, let's start from here. Currently US is 13%. US at 13% return. So with my current portfolio at 27 return, right, that is somewhat okay. If we want to sort of extrapolate this to end of the year, maybe I might be able to get 60% return for the year, which is somewhat okay, somewhat all right. I usually, my average for yearly return on my stock trading account is somewhere about 60 to 100% like that. Actually, last year I did outperform quite well based on my personal I outperform my personal average lah, but usually I tend to get around 60 to 90% like that lah, and I think I am sort of heading in that right direction already. And if you look at my open position, let me show you my open position, right? I actually have Franken, PayPal, you will see that some of the counter I have taken profit, but these are the counter that I still have a little bit left behind there, which I the trailing portion that I leave behind there. So you can actually see from the value. So if the value is very small, right, like $4,000, it means that this is actually the leftover. So JCOM is the leftover, Innotech is the leftover, Propnex I still have the leftover, Del Monte leftover. So you can see currently my open position, Franken is the highest. Maybe yeah, Franken is the highest. My PayPal actually recovered from negative. So PayPal is like all the way from the beginning. I am still holding all the way from the beginning. Somewhere here, where is it here? All the way from February, I'm still holding because haven't hit the TP, haven't hit the stop loss. I am still holding. Okay, Anhui Express, all the way from January, haven't hit stop loss, haven't hit TP, I am still holding. So eventually when it hit profit, instead of taking a loss, I am taking a profit, meaning I don't incur double loss. So the key thing is you need to be disciplined. You need to be disciplined in form of your lot sizing and in form of holding your stop loss. I mean what I say. I follow exactly what I say. If you are the kind that today enter, tomorrow must see green, must see profit, you will never make it as a trader. This is the harsh reality of it. You probably should stop trading and go to casino instead. My entire account is about 160K now. I actually started off with 130K like that. Why do I start off with 130K? Mainly because from last year, I will take a portion of the profit. I will diverse it into my long-term portfolio, my passive portfolio, and the remaining percentage, I leave it in my trading stock portfolio. So this way I am compounding both my trading portfolio and my long-term portfolio. That's why that's how I manage my long-term and short-term. So at the end of every year, I do a portfolio rebalancing where I will try to shift my stock trading profit to other area in order to boost them up. Okay, so that's why this year I start with 130. Maybe depending on my profit this year, next year I might start with 160 like that. Okay, so currently I start with 130K. Now I'm at 160K. So if you look at most of my position, right, highest position is Franken at 16K. Some of them are 10K. So given this amount, right, I can actually enter about 10 position, 10 to 11 position. In fact, if you look at it, I have 16 position here. I sort of spread them out quite nicely lah. So the thing is, if Amway Express is stuck in January, I don't mind let it be stuck because it's less than 10% of my entire portfolio, the contract value that Amway Expressway is taking up. So most of you out there, right, you have a 10K account, which is considered very small already. Then not only you have a 10K account, right, you buy your contract size like 50-60% of your entire account. So you have 10K, you go and trade something that is 5K. Now you left with only 5K. So if your first position is stuck, right, you are stuck forever already. And this is the issue that most of you face, most of the newbie trader face. They put their entire portfolio into one counter, and when that counter stuck, right, they are dead. They are essentially stuck. They can't do anything else. And it brings up even more issue. When stuck a bit, right, they will sell. They sell already, they go chase another, and the moment they chase another, right, the original counter start to run already. So at the deeper level, right, the issue is it has nothing to do with being stuck. It is how you manage your lot sizing And if your lot sizing, you are already managing properly, but still cannot, right? It means you have very little capital. You shouldn't be even trading with a 10K account. In fact, you to be trading comfortably, you need like 30, 40K account. And that is considered quite I would say restrictive lah. So please try to think a bit deeper on what are the things that are causing the issue. Anhui Expressway have been stuck there for months. I don't really care about it because I still have enough other counters that I am holding that are giving me profit. And eventually, if Anhui Express become profit, right, is good for me also. If you can only enter 2 or 3 positions with your current capital, it's either number one, you are risking too much. Number two, your capital is too low. If you have anything less than 10K and you are trying to trade stock, right, I would suggest that stop trading, go and save up, come back when you have like 20, 30K like that. Okay, that's the harsh reality lah. I don't want to sort of encourage people with $1,000, $2,000 hoping to become millionaire like that. That's not the right way to go about trading. And secondly, what you will see here is my current floating position is minus $92. Minus $92 on a 160K account. That is less than 0.1%. So most of the trader out there with 10K account, they are floating loss or profit, right? It's like 5K, 6K, like 30, 40% of their entire account already. That is not correct also. That is actually wrong because you are over trading, you are over risking. Maybe this one time you might get a lot of profit, but you keep doing the same thing, or somewhere along the way, you are going to hit with a very, very big loss. And the issue with trader is that when hit with a loss, they tend to hold. Eventually, they hold until their entire account evaporate. When hit with a profit, they run fast, meaning they are not able to capitalize a very, 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 very big trade. Okay. So I have Del Monte Pack, Sawyer Pacific, and of course on the losing side, I also have Netflix, which is all the way from like very long time ago. Johnson Electric H here, all the way from Jan, still holding because haven't hit the stop loss yet. And I have Grand Venture, Southern Alliance, still holding from the latest trade, and Zhoutian Chemical, Tesla. So these are all the counters that I sort of still holding, but it's okay. Follow the trade plan. Eventually, when they hit the profit, then good. If not, cut. If nothing else, just hold. Don't need to go and like stress yourself out and go and exit this and enter another one again. They will handle by themselves. So no need to worry too much about it. And of course, let's look at the close position. So close position, of course, the most the biggest profit for the year is actually from US Steel. For those who are not aware of US Steel, there's actually a free ahead of the curve video. You can go and take a look at it. It's actually on my YouTube account. How we managed to take the US Steel. In fact, US Steel was $8,000 because I actually have two trades. So I actually entered one trade. Then when the price dropped to a slightly lower price, I entered another trade. So it's considered two position, and eventually I managed to get 8K out of the entire position. And of course, Southern Alliance, you can see that some of the trades, they are 25K, 30K, right? It's mainly because I have more than one position. So Southern Alliance, for those who notice, we actually do have 3 trades set up for Southern Alliance for 2021. And in fact, I managed to take all 3 of them. And of course, Razer also, there were 2 trades set up this year. So all the single trade ones are all the 16K, 15K, or all this kind. So my biggest winning is, of course, US Steel, Southern Alliance, BlackBerry, Razer, Propnex. So Propnex, right, is also carried over from last year. Last year, you will see that. Let me show you my Propnex from last year. You see, last year Propnex actually I have 6.9K already. So So while you will see I post quite a lot of prop next with big profit, but if you are surprised to see why there's a little, it's only like over 3K, right? Actually, mainly because majority of the profit is from last year lah. And we have Workhorse, Lion, OCBC, HSTech, Del Monte Pack, Oceanus, and of course on the losing side, we have the infamous AEM. This is same thing. I also have 2 trades on it. That's why there is $3,000. So in fact, I both of the trade I took a loss lah. So it actually come up to about $1,005. And you can see most of my loss is somewhat from 1,000 to 2,005 like that. I never exceeded more than that. So my loss is controlled very nicely. It is controlled very, very nicely. I don't exceed a certain amount. And UMS is actually $190 mainly because there were 2 trades on it. The very first trade I profited, second trade I lost. So the net is about $190 loss lah. That's why it's like that. Okay, so in fact, if you look at my trade, right, I am not actually busy enter exit, scoping that 1 pip here, 2 pip there. I actually enter and then most of the time I just leave it there. For those who already saw my trade management video using trading view, right, I managed to sort of I did show you how I manage all my trade with the alert. So I just set all my alert on trading view. The moment the alert is hit, right, I'll just log in and then I just TP or stop loss based on the alert that I set lah. And that's it. That's probably about it. And it's very simple, it's very stress-free. I don't go and check my account every day because eventually I know that at the end of the day I'm going to get a 60 to 70% winning rate. I don't need to check my trade and my open position every day because it's just sitting there and the alert are all set. And in fact, the time that I spend on trading, right, is very minimal, very minimal. Most of the time right now, I'm usually trying to do the scanner. I'm heavily involved in my new website that I'm trying to set up and a lot of other various other stuff lah, mainly to do with Patreon or giving course lah. I do actually spend very, very little time on trading. And even that very small time that I input into trading, I do get a respectable about 60 to 90% every year. And I think that is a good balance. I can probably push it to maybe 100% plus if I trade like US market more extensively. Like I can stay up until 2 a.m. 3 a.m. to trade US market. But of course, as everything else, trading is also like a job. There have to be some kind of work-life balance lah. And there need to be a balance between choosing a system that is actually stress-free, give you time to do your own thing, and make sure that you are not stressing out over your open position lah. And this is the balance that I managed to find. So I do hope my personal trading journey give you some insight, and hopefully with this sharing and the Patreon itself, you will be able to get profitable yourself also. So thank you for tuning in and have a great day.